Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you today about this purge valve they started using in 2009 and newer vehicles, and it's causing a lot of problems from lean codes to rich codes to evap codes to tanks actually being sucked in even. Here's a good example of how the canister purge valves used to look. They had the two lines that come to them just like that, and they had usually a test port on them just like this with the green cap on it. Connector, they all looked just like this, and they mounted up to the fender well or away from the engine otherwise, and they just never failed. So then in 2009 they decided to go with this brilliant design where it bolts right in. It's all right there. All you gotta do is have one line going to an electrical connector, and it's a great idea in theory, but they fail way too often. What happens is they get stuck open. So the evap test can fail because there's the system itself cannot hold a vacuum from the line on back through the canister in the tank, or they can actually pull so much fuel through there because it's constantly sucking the fuel at full vacuum. It'll actually pull raw fuel into the intake and cause rich codes, or once it's done pulling all the fuel out of the canister itself, and it'll actually get free fresh air from through the canister, and that'll cause lean codes. So in extreme cases, like I said, they've actually sucked in fuel tanks. On the F-150s in 09 and 2010, all the early ones, when they started using this, they were actually causing them to stall just the way it was designed. There was so much of an influx of fuel in there, they would cause them to stall going down the road, and they go to the side of the road and start them back up. But most common is a P1450 code, which is a excessive flow and or restricted block line type deal, where it doesn't open or it's open all the time. And I'm going to show you a real easy tip, a way of actually testing it without a scan tool or anything like that if you're getting any of the codes that I'm talking about. And I'll put a bunch more codes that are common with this faulty valve down in the description down below also. So these valves are in different locations, but they all look the same, and here's the actual valve. Let me see if I can show it to you over here. You got two holes for your bolts, your connector, one O-ring, and it actually sticks into the intake, and then it may have a 90-degree coming off of here or straight out like this for the actual evap line that goes back to your evap canister and tank and all that. So here's the location for the 3.5 liters. The 3.0 liter docks and the escapes are just about the same location. Here's the location of that canister purge valve on a 2009 Escape and newer that has a 2.5 liter engine in it. And you can see it's very easy to get to. It's right next to the throttle body, right here in the front by the fans. And it has the same connector like I said on the other one. They all have the same common connector and one line run to them. And this one's very easy to push in and get out. Now this one has the more common code, the P0455, where there's actually the valve does not open, it fails electronically, and there's no flow when it actually tries to purge some of the canister vapors, the fumes, and tries to use them through the intake. It's not getting no flow through there. So set a code for that, and that's the P0455. So you have that code without any testing of the bleeder on here or not, because you won't feel it because it'll be stuck closed. With the P0455, you can go ahead and just change this valve out. Alright, so I'm going to show you just how easy this is to diagnose. And if you're having any of those codes that I list down below in the description, and you have a 2009 or newer vehicle with this style purge valve on it, you're going to want to do this easy test first before you change anything out or test anything else. That's how common these are. And this is a 2013 Edge, and 4,000 miles on it, and they're still having this issue. So it's definitely worth a check. No matter what year you have, they're still failing randomly. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over to it, and there's going to be the one line that connects to it. Push the little retainer in on it. On the other side, this is the one I can't show you. You just push it in, it'll spread the ears on there, pull it off, get the line off to the side, and then disconnect your electrical connector, and they're all going to look just like this, off to the side. And then you're going to start the car up, and you're going to go down here to this port right here and put your finger on it, and you're going to check for vacuum, and you're going to feel it sucking on your finger. Now some of them leak a little bit all the time and a lot other times, and you may have to keep your finger on here and wait for it to build a vacuum so you can feel it to pull it off of there, and you definitely be able to feel it. Now this one's stuck wide open. We're running totally lean. Okay, so once the engine's running, everything's disconnected, you just come over here and you put your finger on the end of it, and you'll definitely feel it. And the engine idle might even change like this one is. I mean, this one's a good sized leak. It'll suck your finger right into there. And don't worry, it's not going to suck your flesh off or anything weird like that or hurt you. It's just going to be engine vacuum. But there should be no engine vacuum coming through here without any electrical input at all. There's an actual spring and a pinto valve in here, and that valve should seat via spring pressure naturally when there's nothing in here causing the actual solenoid to pull the valve open. So you can see this one, no input at all. It's just sucking those vapors from the canister purge, and it's used them all up, so now it's just sucking air via the canister and the charcoal canister through the fresh air vent on there. So that's where we're getting our lean coats from. And the other nice thing about these, besides being cheap, is they are easy to remove. No matter where they're at on the engine, the different engine configurations, 2 8mm bolts, and your line's already off, so you just slide it right out. That's all there is to it, and the same thing going back in. Wiggle a little bit, get it in there, and then your bolts will line up the rest of it there. Tighten them down, get your line back on there until it clicks. A little tug, okay. And then we'll get our electrical connector back on there. And just make sure you clear your codes. I got a whole video on that in case you don't have a scan tool. And that way it can relearn all the fuel trims and of course clear your codes from the fault this thing caused. And here's the fuel trims from yesterday before the repair. We're closing in on 30 positive for fuel trim correction, and then we got the long terms to add on top of that, so we're over 40 positive trying to correct for this lean condition from that canister purge sucking all that air in that's unmetered. And you can also verify by the rear downstream O2 sensors, they're also seeing the same thing with the voltages being so low. And there it is, perfect fuel trims, 5-6%, and our long terms are at 0, and our rear O2s are showing little oxygen that is left after the catalyst procedure, which is perfect. They should be around 0.8, 0.9. So everything's back to normal with one little purge valve.